Hi everyone, welcome back to the great north of Norway, to Tromsø. A slightly different place as the one I was 2 days ago when I was admiring that midnight sun. You can see the pictures on my social media networks now and on Instagram, Facebook and so on. So don't hesitate to have a look and I hope to enjoy what I've seen 2 days ago. So today it's a little bit earlier, it's past 10 o'clock. It's not midnight yet, but as you can see, yeah, the sun is still there and it's gonna be there the whole night and the whole following days. So I came here a little bit earlier and I'm here at Bukta, which is the extreme south of the island of Tromsø. First of all, because I wanted to go to a different place, and second of all, because I wanted to show you and to explain to you a little bit more about my work and what I'm doing in terms of composition and in terms of technique that I'm using to capture my images. I'm going to be a little bit more technical tonight. I hope you don't mind, and I hope you will enjoy that. And I will also, of course, show you the landscape which is surrounding me and which is just amazing. I'm going to turn the camera. Here we go. So you can first of all enjoy that landscape. And tonight, I mean, we had a pretty rough day. I mean, a lot of rain, but the sky cleared up tonight and we have a beautiful sun, a little bit, still a little bit high. It's gonna go down a little bit more, a tiny bit, and then going up again and to continue around the earth. So now, I mean, the light is a little bit changing because there are a few clouds that are going back and forth and in front of the sun. Anyhow, so I'm now here sorry, at Bukta. So as I said, the extreme south of the island of Tromsø. The city center is not far, it's like 5 minutes away from here. And what I'm trying to capture today, and that you can see here, I mean, like, that's the kind of composition I'm looking for. So I'm doing some landscape photography for today. So I'm trying as much as possible to respect that rule of the third. So I mean, you can divide your image, I mean, like 1/3 for the sky, 1/3 for the sea, and 1/3 for the foreground. Of course, you can also do 1/3 for the sea and 2/3 for the sky, or you can go a little bit higher and have 1/3 for the sky and 2/3 for the sea. So that's the kind of composition I'm looking for. A composition which is really dynamic and which really works is when you have a really nice foreground, and it's the case here because we have those seaweeds that are on the different on so many rocks here, and then you have the sea and the background. So that's what I'm trying to capture at the same time on the same image. And I have one composition here which I did including the sun. So the sun now kind of disappeared a little bit behind the clouds, but I had that kind of composition. And I had a second composition, which is the one I have now with my camera, and I'm going to show you, is a composition slightly like that. So I have a foreground of the seaweeds on the rocks, then the sea, and then in the background the mountains. I have two challenges when I'm looking and when I'm doing an image like that. So the first challenge is to deal with the contrast, because when you have a quite bright sun like I have tonight, for instance, I have a foreground here which is kind of dark. I mean, especially if I go down here, you will see it's much darker than the background. Then I have the background with some clouds, and some of the clouds are really white and they're really bright. So it's difficult on the same image to have that dark foreground correctly exposed and the background correctly exposed. So I'm using bracketing, so different kind of exposure, -3, -2, -1, 0, +1, +2. So I'm using bracketing to be sure that I have the correct exposition for the different parts of the image. And then in post-production I will have to assemble those different parts. I could use filters, ND filters for instance, to darken a little bit the sky. And honestly, I prefer to work with the actual light, even if ND filters don't distract much the light, but I prefer really to work with no filters. but it means that I have really to expose the different parts of my image, and I have to keep in mind the kind of image I will have at the end after the post-production, because I really need to expose those different parts. So that's the first challenge. Once I've dealt with the first challenge, I have a second challenge. My foreground is really close to me, 50 centimeters. The first seaweeds are 50 centimeters away. And then you have the background with those mountains in the background, which are like at the infinite, or almost. So it's difficult to have everything in focus from the foreground to the background. So I'm using another technique, which is focus stacking. And focus stacking, it means that I take 10, 12, 15 pictures, changing slightly the focus point between each image, and then in post-production I will align and combine those images to have a perfectly clear and perfectly in focus image from 0 to infinite. So it means that in post-production I have to deal with those two challenges. So I will first create an image per exposition, so underexposed, clear and focus from 0 to infinite, a little bit more exposed from 0 to infinite, and so on. So at the end I will end up with 4, 5, 6 images, different images, dark, less dark, correctly exposed, overexposed, and then I will combine the different parts of those different images to end up with an image which is correctly exposed from the dark side, the dark areas, the foreground to the background, and also totally in focus. That's the kind of techniques, once again, that I'm using. Of course, because I'm here and I always like to take as much images as possible, different angles, I will also try, an angle like that when you have really that beautiful sky with so much structure within the clouds, and the different, within the landscapes also you have some parts of the landscape. If I zoom in here a little bit, you can see that there is some sun leading up some of the parts, like where the forest is, and so I'm gonna try also to make some other angles, and like for instance also something like that, which is beautiful, a little bit less dynamic because you don't have that foreground, which is really nice and really beautiful, and also really colorful. Like those green, yellowish, brownish colors are really nice, and I'm gonna try to pop up those colors to have really a dynamic and beautiful image, which is close to what I see actually, because if I see it with my eyes, I see the nice greenish color of those seaweeds, and I also see perfectly exposed, I'm talking about what my eyes see, the background. But with my camera I have to combine, because I cannot have on the same image everything perfectly exposed and everything in focus. That's the two techniques I'm using. That's the kind of composition I'm looking for. In the upcoming days and weeks I'm gonna probably repeat over again those kind of advices or ideas and tips to take good pictures, landscape photography, and I hope once again that you're gonna enjoy that. I hope you already enjoyed what I just explained to you, and I'm gonna show you a little bit more that beautiful landscape. And we have really nice light now here, you can see, yes, with those rays that are going through the clouds, with the mountains kind of in a shadow, and it's really beautiful. I cannot get used to that. Every time I come here I just enjoy it. So here we go for today, and I'm gonna wish you a good night, and see you soon. Bye bye.